Welcome to Titans for Life with your hosts, Justin Dubo and Dean Mayrand. Gentlemen, welcome back to Titans for Life. If you haven't met me before, I'm Justin Dubo. Today I wanted to dive into camp life and home life and how the split looks a little bit different. Most men that we work with will probably enjoy this episode. It's a little bit about finding a different path to success, being able to do both splits and figure out a way to be productive in both. Hopefully this is something that you can learn from and take with you and maybe implement in your life. It's a different environment in both, but it's the same standard. My life runs on two completely different schedules. 1 week, I'm at camp, long shifts, dining hall meals, living out of a bag. The next week, I'm home, father, partner, building a brand. Different environment, but like I said, the same standard. If your discipline only works in perfect conditions, it's not discipline. Most men don't fail when things are hard. They fail when their routine disappears. Having said that, I think we should dive into why the structure of both weeks matters the most. Men without structure tend to drift, and I see it all the time. If you don't have that baseline, that format of how you're going to run your life and how your day is going to look, if something slaps you in the face, you're just not going to be ready for it. You need to have that structure. It's so easy to fall into that too, right? You see that dining room hall dessert table speaking to you and kind of motioning you over. It's just almost impossible to say no to. The Oilers game might be on in the theater room that night, and it's super easy to just walk away from whatever you're doing and go sit for 3 hours. But if you have an intention to your life of what you want to get done, it makes things a lot easier because you know what your goals are. When the schedule shifts, the standards drop. So you're at home, you know where the gym is, your wife cooks for you. Things can tend to be on easy street. It makes things a lot easier. But when you get to camp and you work at minus 40, you come home after that 12-hour day, you can smell the dining room hall as soon as you walk in. It's pretty easy to just say no and walk back to your room, relax. I had a good day. I did what I needed to do. That's enough for me. But it's not enough for you. You're trying to rebuild. When you take away that convenience, you find out who you are really quick. I've tried to coin the term portable discipline. And what portable discipline means is if it can't travel with you, it's not identity, it's convenience. Think about portable discipline for a second. It means that there's two different schedules, but that discipline stays the same. The plan is always the plan. We're not going to stray from it. This ties back really well to raising your floor, protecting baseline standards, and your identity over your mood. I am the person that says I'm going to do this no matter what. So let's dive into the camp week structure. Mornings at camp. I usually wake up early around 5 a.m., do a couple quick affirmations in the mirror, get ready for my day, walk out to the dining hall. If I am going to eat breakfast, I'm going to have eggs and bacon, make sure protein's high first thing in the morning. If I don't, it's because I'm fasting till lunch and I feel like I can make it there. Coffee above all else. You boys know what that's like. 5 in the morning, a little tough to get going sometimes, but there are a few guys that I work with that don't drink coffee. I envy them. It's crazy. They can get through a day like that. A quick look at social media just to see if content's scheduled, but no doom scrolling early in the morning. Let's not get too tied into our phone. Might end up making us late for work. It's something I try to stay away from early in the morning, and I think you should too. I grab a bottle of water too while I'm out at the dining hall, and I bring that back. I have a little bit of creatine in the morning. That way I know I never miss. It's part of my morning routine. A little bit of vitamin D, brush the teeth, make sure that lunch is packed, and head out the door to work. This structure to me must be intentional. It's probably the most important thing you're going to do all day. Make sure you have a morning routine that sets you up for success and gets you out to work in a great state of mind, ready to go, ready to attack the day. Now let's dive into training. When I train at camp, sometimes I go for the PR, sometimes I don't. Most of the time, it's just maintaining that muscle mass, getting in that 45-minute workout and that 15-minute stretch. It's a non-negotiable for me. It's dependent on the effort I put in at work. If I had a tough day, I still go. I still give it my all, but I also am forgiving to myself now. Not every day you're going to have the gas you need to compete, but the stretching is mandatory. Make sure the flexibility is a little bit better than it was the day before. That's something we could all work on. I know too many people that just can't touch their toes. They can't bend over. They got this aching pain that's always inside of them in different areas of their body. And I think it's crucial to work on things like that. It's a baseline, a non negotiable that you shouldn't stray from. Always maintaining that muscle and that intensity, really trying to push the envelope if I can. Like I said, dependent on the day. Compared to my home workouts, it's definitely a shorter lift. It's efficient, but the intent is always there. The structure of my workouts right now, this is what works for me. If it works for you, great. Obviously, we can tailor something differently to you, or you can tailor it yourself. But here's how I run my schedule. Day one is back and biceps. Day two, chest and triceps. Day three is my favorite. It's legs. I refer to it as steak and legs. That night is Friday night at camp, and that's steak night. That's my favorite meal of the week. I usually have a steak or two for sure, and then head out to the gym and get a really good leg pump in. That's, yeah, definitely my favorite day. I usually feel the best after eating those two steaks. Day four is usually a rest day. I usually come home on the Saturday night, see my family, hang out with them. It's a nice little reset. And usually those first 3 days are the muscle groups I attack the hardest. So the rest is definitely needed. It's nice to come home and chat with your wife, see how the place is doing. It makes for an early wake up the next day, but definitely worth it. Yeah, it's just great to come back and see the kids and be able to say goodnight to everybody. That reset's crucial, I think, to a man's existence at camp anyway. If you got a chance to do it, make sure you do. Obviously, some camps are different than others. You're not always going to make it home, but it is great to get that reset. You really need it. Now we can move into nutrition a little bit. So, nutrition at camp, there's always going to be those dining hall temptations, right? They are real. The dessert section, always plentiful, always stocked. It's kind of hard to walk by. And some nights you're just craving that little bit of ice cream. But if you can replace that with something like Greek yogurt and dried fruit, or Greek yogurt and an apple, just to kind of knock off that sweet tooth, you're in a much better place. I've done that quite a bit in the past. Make sure you correct fast if you slip, because it's inevitable. There's a lot of great food there. It's easy to just pile on a couple things in your plate that are breaded or that are deep fried in oil. Fellas, this episode is brought to you by the Titans for Life Hydration Backpack. If you train, hike, bike, ruck, work outside, or spend any time pushing yourself in the heat, hydration can't be an afterthought. This pack was built for movement. It has a 2-liter water bladder, adjustable chest and waist straps, breathable back support, and a lightweight tactical design that stays with you when you're moving. It's simple, rugged, and useful, exactly how your gear should be. You can find it on Amazon. Search Titans for Life Hydration Pack or check the link in the show notes. Now, back to the show. But a couple important questions you got to ask yourself. How did yesterday look, and how am I feeling today? I fasted yesterday till noon, had my 2 meals, and then the next day I'm starting to notice I'm very hungry, and I got a big leg day coming up. You try to pack that lunch the night before just to make sure you have enough, and don't be afraid to throw a little bit out. You don't have to clean the plate. I know mom and dad raised you that way. They did for me anyway. I always feel that almost guiltiness that I'm throwing food away. If you're on the path to better nutrition, it's something that you may have to do. Just make sure you pack enough for yourself so you're eating the right things, those whole foods, those things that are going to keep you going optimally. I want to tie in the Titan plate mindset here real quick. Usually at camp, you fill up your plate for supper, you have it on a tray. It's pretty easy to ask for a couple scoops of rice and have maybe a garlic toast with your steak and stuff. And then you realize your plate's overfull and over half of it's probably stuff that's just straight energy. It's not something that you need. So the Titan plate mindset is a half plate of protein. And for me, it's usually a couple chicken breasts, maybe 3, just to make sure that it's covered correctly. Nice lean protein, a quarter plate of veggies, and a quarter plate of rice. That's how most of my plates are structured. Obviously, that is dependent on workouts. If I had a really great one the night before, or I didn't eat too many carbs the day before, sometimes I'll treat myself to a second scoop, but I know it's a clean, fast source of energy, and it does help my lifts quite considerably. It's also dependent on how lean the cuts of meat are, or if they're high fat. If they're higher fat, like a brisket, then I might not ask for rice that night. Might just grab a few cubes of cheese. It makes it more of a keto meal. But just being aware that carbs and fat together can be a detriment in high amounts, just make sure you're keeping an eye on that. And it's worked really well for me. And I think it can work well for you too. And with that plate structure, like I said, protein first. You got to really emphasize that. I think we demonize it too much. I got a little story of a coworker I used to work with. He sat down for supper with me. We said hello, had a couple sentence exchange, and he said that he was trying to reduce sugar in his life. I took one look at his plate while we were chatting, and at least three-quarters of it was carbohydrate or sugar intake. I think what he meant was just the processed food side of it, but I could tell that a plan like that's just not going to stick. There just wasn't enough protein. He wasn't really giving himself the best chance to succeed. So, from that story, just don't be that person. Try to keep that protein high, and you'll thank yourself later down the road. It's a continuous process, but don't give up on it. It's something you can master. Lastly, carbs with intention. Like I said, always making sure that it's dependent on the workout or the work I've done that day and putting myself in a good spot for tomorrow. If I have to snack, it's Greek yogurt and a little bit of dried fruit after my workout and making sure you're full for the night so you don't nighttime snack. I've been victim to that too. When you go into the dining hall, then obviously the dining line is closed. Like there's no really great choices left. So you kind of put yourself in a bad hole there. Make sure you have enough when you eat supper and maybe stockpile some snacks in your camp room, something that is a little bit higher protein so you don't make those same mistakes I did. Hydration always. Never forget the water. I carry a flat of water with me in my truck just to make sure I always have some, even if it's frozen at minus 40. Thaw it out on the dash. Always bringing some to the shacks out in the field, just making sure it's available. I drink a ton of water when I'm on site, and I think that's very helpful too. Okay, let's dive into the evenings at camp. Limiting social media. This is the tough one because obviously we have our business that we're trying to run. We're trying to put posts up on social media. It's easy to get tied into that and just stay in that loop. And for most people, you start doom scrolling a little bit, and all of a sudden it's 3 a.m. How the hell did I get here? I see you. I understand it. We just got to be mindful of it. It's much easier to put that down and read a book, give yourself a chance to learn something new, right? Let's try to develop better habits. For me, it's easier to limit social media because I usually talk to my wife. Once I work out after work, it gets me to about 8 p.m. at night. Doesn't leave much time to do much else. So I usually give her a call around 8:30. We have a little chat, half an hour to 40 minutes, and helps me reset, keeps me grounded, reminds me what I'm doing this for. I'm really thankful for those chats. She may never listen to this, but I just want to let her know that her voice is very important to me. You got a chance after that workout for about an hour to read and learn and plan. And I try to do that on my laptop. I've been doing some learning lately and trying to develop some programs. You can still use that time to become better. You just got to be mindful of it. That leads into bedtime, which is obviously my favorite part of the day because it's been a long day. We put in a lot of work. We deserve this. We always sleep with intention, right, guys? Sound machine for me, it's a staple. I got to have it now. I went the first few months without it, but it's been crucial in camp, kind of helping me just get a better sleep at night. Sometimes there's some noise in the hallway. I find it's been very helpful. Lights out, phone off by 9:15, 9:30 p.m. Never changes. Bed at 10 at the latest. So that gives me 7 hours of sleep. Always trying to keep that routine because sleep is very important, especially for the recovery. And I do work out a lot at camp. So getting that sleep is crucial. You guys would be better served to implement something like that in your life too.
Hey guys, quick pause to talk about a brand I actually use and trust Prestige Labs. When it comes to supplements, I don't mess around with hype or garbage ingredients. Prestige Labs focuses on clean, third party tested products that actually support performance and recovery. I personally use their creatine for strength and output, protein powder to hit my daily intake, and their cravings crusher at night to stay disciplined and avoid late night snacking. If you're training hard and want supplements that support your work instead of working against you, check them out. You can find the link in the show notes and on our Instagram page under the Linktree link. And as always, this isn't medical advice, just real tools for men putting in real work.
Now we jump into the home week. Mornings at home. I'm usually up at 5 a.m. I have coffee till 6. Usually chat with the wife a little bit before heading out. I've started to implement this the last couple months where I leave at 6 a.m. and go to the gym. I get home by 7:30, and that gives me time to see my kids off to school, maybe drop them off if I have to. And I feel like that's been a huge game changer for me. It kind of opens up the day more so that at 8:30, I'm ready to go to town, do the errands, do the work that I got to do, and get straight after it. That's another habit I think would be great to build in other people. And it's not always perfect. Sometimes I sleep in a little bit. Obviously, working long hours at camp, not sleeping in your bed. There's going to be a couple mornings where you want to get up and you just want to snooze a little bit. And that's fine if you structure those in, but the work still got to get done. So just be cognizant of that. When it comes to the workouts, they can usually be longer in length because I have that little bit more time. And I do try to structure in more cardio like sprinting or long distance running. We have the Titans Tribe workouts too. Those are usually fairly heavy cardio sessions. So it's always nice to go meet up with the boys and get that done. It's good to have that group around us. And I would suggest to anybody to build a group like that for yourself, be the leader of it, and really try to improve each other's lives together. After those workouts, I get home for the family breakfast. Usually, my wife has cooked my kids some breakfast, and I'll make myself some protein powder and berries, sit down with them, have a little chat before we head out for the day, some goals that we can attain together, things that we can work on from the day previous. That home life definitely expands my capacity. I feel like I have a few more hours in a day, and it's just nice to be home. Then there's the fatherhood part of it. At camp, I build provision. At home, I try to build legacy. One of the hardest things I found so far is being present instead of distracted. With hockey season, we're always gone to the rinks. I'm sure most Northern Canadian families can relate to that. We spend a lot of time there, and sometimes it's hard to be present because on my phone, I can still do work. And I know I should be watching my kids and enjoying that time at the rink. I've been getting better at it, but it's definitely a work in progress. And I'm sure most of you men feel that too. Sometimes you are present, but you're not giving 100% to your family. So the intent there should be to set aside blocks where you're uninterrupted doing the work that you need to do. But then when it comes time for that 3 p.m. line that you set yourself in the sand, you're done. You go pick up your kids, you're present in their lives till 6, 7, whatever their bedtime is, 8 o'clock. And then after that, maybe you can get in a bit more work, but do your best to really structure that family time in and be present with them when you're there. It's also a work in progress for me now that I've taken on more responsibility, but I feel like I'm succeeding. I'm getting somewhere and I'm going to keep working at it. And now being at home with no alcohol, that's probably been the biggest game changer. It's opened up a ton more time in the day. I can't even imagine being able to take on this kind of responsibility without giving up alcohol in the first place. I used to just eat up the next, half of my day being hungover. And I'm so glad I'm not doing that anymore. I'm clear headed. I know what my intentions are, my goals are. My wife can see it. She's very happy that I've changed to this mindset, to this way of life. And I think it would serve you guys well to do that as well. Try to find something that you can latch onto and build and give yourself a purpose, a role that you want to fulfill. I can't stress that enough. Always trying to lead from the front too. Almost an impossible task. I got 3 orangutans for children. They're 3 boys running around wild all the time. But I'm always trying to impart wisdom on them. There's sometimes we don't want to go to hockey, and it's like, look, you made a commitment. We're sticking to it. Your team needs you. You're healthy. There's no reason you shouldn't be there. Give it all you got. And usually when we go, we have a good time. So little tidbits like that, where we're just trying to get the best out of our children. It's a tough road. You are doing a good job as a father, but keep pushing them. They need that. That's what the father's role is. Don't quit on it. Make sure that they know that you love them, but push. That's our role. We need to show them the way. And like Brody Laybolt says best, I didn't want to be that fat fuck dad. I'm working towards that. Still not perfect. And there's nothing more that I want than to be in the greatest shape of my life. But I also know I'm 34. The effort level's there. The schedule's changing week to week. We got different places we got to be. Sometimes you get stuck at a place where nutrition's just going to be out the window that night, but you still have to have that discipline not to go too far with it. Life's always changing. It's this ever moving tapestry. But when your kids look at you, they're not going to want to do the things that you're telling them to do. Why would I do it if he can't do it? I'm trying to be this person imparting wisdom, but I can't even complete those tasks myself. So that became a game changer too. I think the boys can see it. And then, of course, is the business and brand building or podcast editing and recording. Always busy with that. Creating Financial Friday posts for you guys. The Sunday audit is something that I always used to do without realizing it, kind of unconsciously. But weekly, for the last 8 months, I've sat down and thought about my past weeks, 7 days at a time, and just kind of went over what I nailed and what I didn't, giving myself a score out of 7 when it came to training, nutrition, finances, fatherhood and family. There's tons of aspects you can add in on your own, but all it takes is a little 5-10 minute sit down on Sunday, usually when we're not the busiest, and I'll bounce ideas off my wife of what this next week needs to look like, where it can improve. It helps you identify patterns that you might not have recognized before. And now you've slipped now 3 weeks in a row, and it's up to you to rectify that. But at least you don't. You become cognizant and self aware. And then with that Sunday audit, there's always the financial side of it, trying to automate investing and make sure that a certain amount goes into investments every month. Account reviews, like my whole life insurance, bills, and ways to conserve money. There's that budget awareness too, trying to figure out how we can conserve money in certain ways, allocate it to different things, making sure that our family is always coming out on top. Even though that environment changes from camp to home, the investment schedule shouldn't. You shouldn't come home and be blowing all your money. You just earned it. It's hard earned. Make sure it works for you in the future so you have more than enough of it later on when you go to retire. Always invest in yourself first, whether that's the gym, education, business, whatever it is. You are your most important asset. Don't forget that. And always look for ways to raise your financial floor, whether that's different investments, whole life insurance, saving money, if you're at that first step, just getting that 3 to 6 months emergency fund. You don't want to be the guy that's one bad situation away from blowing up. That's part of taking care of your family. Take responsibility for it, like the other aspects in your life that you're doing right now as part of your rebuild. The core message of all of this, though, this isn't about camp life. It's about your identity. Most men collapse when that routine disappears. It's almost inevitable with all the changes in life that you go through over the weeks, the months, the years. Those excuses sometimes change, but your standards shouldn't. Discipline must travel with you. Make it portable. Make a list, a checklist at the end of the day to prove to yourself that you've done everything right. Something that keeps you disciplined. Make it portable so that you can take it with you. Titans adapt without lowering the bar. Always set the bar high. Aim for the moon and you'll land among the stars, right? Home and camp, different environment, but the same standard. We'll see you guys next episode. Titans out.
Well, that's it for this episode of Titans for Life. If you got value today, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share this with another Titan who needs to hear it. You can follow us on Facebook at Titans for Life. That's Titans, the number 4, life, or on Instagram at Titans_4_life_online, all lowercase. And if you want to rep the movement, support the show, or grab some Titan gear or supplements, check out our links in the show notes. Our Shopify store is now up. Until next time, always remember, the grind is the gold.